everyone, and welcome to New Trials Podcast. I'm Preya.
And I'm Melanie.
The New Trials of Captor Sakura, Syaoran, and Friends is a popular ongoing fanfic by Wishluv, and it's based off of Clamp's Captor Sakura. And each episode will do a deep dive of the new chapter. Let's get into it. So, we've had listener feedback in the past, but we've recently had more messages than usual. That inspired us to call this segment Alliance of the Stars. Melanie, why don't you start us off?
Sure. So one of the very first ever messages I ever got was from a Instagram user, and I hope I'm going to pronounce this right, but it's Shiro Barrow. It's Shero B as in boy EARO. So back on October 3rd, they sent me a message and said, "Hi, I just wanted to say you guys are doing great. Loving both the audiobook and podcast. Really appreciate you doing this. I've been following New Trials since Wish-chan posted chapter 10, possibly earlier, and it's been so fun to hear you guys talk about it. I'm on chapter 2 of the audiobook and just finished listening to the podcast on chapter 3. And then recently she messaged me again on January 25th, and she said, "Major props to Melanie on the audiobook. Your voices for each of the characters seem to have developed over the chapters now, and they feel so lived in, and the use of sound effects and music is tying everything together. So good. Also love listening to the podcast after each chapter. Y'all sound like you're so much fun." It's just so sweet. And like, as soon as she sent me those messages, I just immediately messaged Preya, because I'm the one that runs the Instagram account for the most part, and I was just like, "Preya!" My love language is words of affirmation, and like just hearing how much someone just loves the audiobook, which is my baby. Like, I mean, this podcast is too, but oh my God, it made me cry. I made sure to tell her how much I appreciated it, but I know you're listening now, but thank you so much. You have no idea how much that meant to me. And I've had such a trying week and that just completely brightened up my whole week and literally made my whole day, if not whole month. So thank you so much. And then also, recently we had a really exciting mention on Instagram too by a user called Gianni. It's like Jiianie. And she drew, guys, I can't even describe to you how good this fan art is. It is absolutely gorgeous. It's of Sakura and Syaoran in their bunny hoodies that Wish-chan made them. And this is an amazing fan art. We will link this fan art eventually when we get to this chapter, but I really recommend you go check out her IG and take a look at this beautiful fan art. But basically she said, "Inspired by Wishluv's fanfiction, The New Trials of Cardcaptor Sakura and Friends, here are Sakura and Syaoran in cute bunny hoodies. I wanted to do some NT fan art for a very long time now, but I've never got around to doing it. However, while listening to NT the pod, I suddenly really wanted to draw these two bunny hoodies that Tomeo made for them, even though we haven't reached that far in the podcast yet. Haha. I do believe the hoodies were originally white, so please swipe till the end to see a little surprise. Hope you all are having a good start to the week."
Oh, I'm just going to make the executive decision right now, and we're just going to post it on Facebook right away at the same time that we're going to post this, because, we're not going to wait till Arc 4 to share this beautiful work.
Good. I'm glad you agree. I'll tag it on our IG too, and be sure to tag her. But it is an amazing, absolutely amazing fan art. And Preya, you're like our fan art queen, and you had no idea she existed, huh?
Yeah, I know. I messaged her and I said that I've been curating New Trials fan art since 2007, 2009, very long time. I have dedicated myself to Trials picture book project, and I have such a collection of all the pictures on DeviantArt, and then she just comes out of nowhere and I'm like, "Oh my God, this is amazing." So we chatted a little bit on her IG, and she's like, "Yeah, I've never drawn anything before for this fandom," and I'm like, "Thank you so much." And I know we're niche, I know we're small, but we have a great appreciation for it, and I just can't wait to share it with you guys this week.
So much fun. Also, guys, if you hear banging in the background, please bear with us. Priya's doing her house right now.
We're at the finish line.
we're just making it work. So please bear with us. I'll try to edit as best as I can, but please bear with us.
Yeah, and I think unless it's like some sawing, we're gonna edit that out. But the bang bang bang, hopefully we can just talk over that. My apologies for my amazing boyfriend who is building me my house. Like honestly, it's like a fun fact. Melanie did a tarot reading for me back in 2020, and she said that I was going to meet somebody who works with his hands. Oh boy, was she right. Okay, so moving on, I got some messages from Nessel Zigai because she was doing some organization task and she decided to choose our podcast to pass the time. Now, she did bring up the fact that not all the episodes are on Spotify, and apparently the episodes are being uploaded, but the platform is being temperamental about which ones are posting and which ones are not. So for us, YouTube has been more reliable, but we are definitely going to be looking into it in the future. Yes, and what made Melanie and I absolutely melt is when she said that she'll listen to the podcast as she draws, because that gives her motivation. As Melanie mentioned, words of affirmation is actually both of our love language, and we were just over the moon. Messel also left a fantastic comment under chapter 12, Till You Turn to Me. And she says, I'm slowly making my way through these podcast episodes. I want to put in my 2 cents on the necklace and the madman in the mansion. For the Amamiya necklace, I intentionally make it a bit bigger so that it's more noticeable in my fan art. Artistic liberties. That thing is so small otherwise. For the madman, I always saw him as a vengeful spirit that might not have realized he died, and by the end of his ordeal, his spirit is pacified and able to move on. And I really like that explanation. I was always between, is he real? Is he not real? But if we think of him as a spirit and then he can move on, I think that really does make the most sense.
Yeah. And we appreciate you commenting. And yeah, I apologize about Spotify. I've tried so many times to re-upload. I've tried, reaching out to them for help. And yeah, at this point, we're giving up on Spotify and we're going to try and find a new platform. So just bear with us.
But thank you so much, everyone, for reaching out. We love it. It makes us so happy. It's the best part of our days. And thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, please be sure to send us some messages and we'll highlight you on our Alliance of the Stars.
Woohoo! Before we start our chapter discussion, I was going to ask you about your connection to New York, but we're not there yet. So let's talk about airport travel stories.
Next chapter.
Yes, next chapter. So airports. Do you have any airport stories or airplane stories that come to mind?
Yeah. So one of my really good friends in high school, she was an exchange student from Finland, and her and I just got really close that senior year of high school. And even after she left, we stayed really good pen pals on Facebook Messenger, and we would talk almost every single day. And then there was just this lull in 2010 where I was kind of in between jobs, but I was doing stuff on the side that was still bringing in money. And so I had this money and I didn't really have a job that I had to adhere to, that was on like a consistent basis. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take 2 weeks and I'm just going to go see her in Finland. And I never have flown by myself ever. I've flown before that, obviously, but for the most part, I usually always had an adult with me. And so, or a friend or something. And so this was my first time like really doing a transatlantic huge flight all by myself. So so I went from Kansas City to Atlanta. And for those of you that are not American, our Atlanta airport sucks. If you ever have a layover in Atlanta, please make sure you give yourself at least 2 hours. I'm not even kidding. You will sit on the tarmac forever waiting for a gate. It's not fun. Anyways, moving on. And then from Atlanta, I had to fly to Amsterdam. And then from Amsterdam, I had to fly to Finland. And it was such a long flight. I think it was 16 hours or something like that altogether. And then when I touched down in Finland, I don't know why I thought this, but in our Kansas City airport, like literally you leave your gate, you walk out of this security area, and there are your people waiting for you. Like it's the most easiest airport in the entire world. It's like a small airport. It's super easy. So I don't know why in my head I thought that would be the case in Finland. So I left my gate and I'm just kind of wandering around. I'm like, huh, where's my friend? I can't find her. And so then I'm like, well, I guess I should go get my suitcase. So then I follow the signs, which are either in Finnish or Swedish. And then at the very bottom in super small print is English. But I saw the little like, suitcase looking signs. So I kind of followed that. And then when I went to this room to get my suitcase, the door closed behind me. So I was completely locked out. So I couldn't even get back into the airport if I wanted to. My cell phone wasn't working because I didn't have the international data or whatever it was back. This is like back in 2010. And so I did find my suitcase, thank God, but I didn't know where to go. I was so lost. Like I don't speak Finnish or Swedish. My Spanish is going to get me 0. But thank God there was this really nice couple. I want to say they were from Denmark. And I went up to them, my little poor American self, and I was like, English? And they're like, yeah, a little bit. And I was like, can I please use your phone? I need to call my friend and my phone isn't working. I'm like rambling because I'm nervous and I'm like anxious, but luckily they understood me enough and let me use their phone to call my friend. And she kind of walked me through how to get and find her. But eventually I found her and it was great. But yeah, that was my first big solo trip all by myself. How about you, Priya?
Well, I don't think I've ever had any mishaps in an actual airport, but like on a plane, I have one little story. So I think the most quote unquote horrible thing that happened to me when I was on a plane when I was going back from Cuba to Montreal. And they ran out of airplane food that you could buy. And the food in Cuba is not that great. I got sick and I just wanted to eat something that can just settle in my stomach. So when I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna, airplane food is already expensive enough as it is. So when you're ordering it, you're like either rich or desperate. So it's like, I'm gonna order it. And they're like, yeah, we're out of that. And I'm like, okay, I'll have this. Yeah, we're out of that too. We're actually out of everything. And I'm like, seriously, how can you be out of everything? Didn't you do the calculations? But like now in retrospect, it's like, okay, they're not going to have enough food to feed the whole plane, especially if you buy the food. But I think I was just really grumpy at the time.
Yeah, especially when you're hungry and you can't eat. That's the worst kind of grumpiness is hangry. When you're hangry, it's a whole new level.
Yeah, but other than that, airports, it's pretty good. I think the last airport mishap I had was when I took the plane to North Carolina, and then Debbie, my cousin, said she was going to pick me up, but they were doing construction at wherever she was going to pick me up. So she's like, "Okay, I'm going to park. I'm going to find you," and then I'm like, "Okay, I'm at the chairs." Thing is, though, I didn't know there was a whole set of chairs on the other side, so she was like looking for me, scanning, and couldn't find anything. And finally, she found me, so we reunited. Woohoo! But yeah, I think that was my last airport mishap. Nothing like what Sakura and Syaoran are going to get themselves into.
Oh my good. And I have lots of thoughts on that when we get there.
So that leads us to today. We're going to be kicking off the New York saga with chapter 16, Running Out of Time. This chapter was released in the late fall of 2000. It's 9,680 words, so much longer than the previous chapter, as you can see for the timestamp of the audiobook chapter. And once again, the cast is in the 8th grade. It's officially after Christmas. They're on their winter holidays. Let me get into the summary. On the day before the New York trip, Tomoyo coordinated all of the outfits. The next day at the airport, Sakura received a written message explaining that a bomb will set off at the airport in an hour, and only a black skeleton mask icon was left as a signature. Sakura raced off, and a moment later, Syaoran went after her to look for the bomb too. They figured that using the airport computer system would help them locate the bomb. After knocking out some guards and threatening another guard with his golden hilted knife by saying that he killed a man, Syaoran, they located the bomb in the basement. Sharon was held back, so Sakura was left on her own. She reached the bomb with 5 minutes to spare when Sharon joined her, and she read the message that also came with instructions to decipher the code. They worked with the equations until the last 2 wires were left to chance. Sakura pulled out the last wire, and there was an explosion of streamers and a new message of congratulations. They also learned that they would be followed in New York. Sakura and Sharon argued when he called her gullible for believing he actually killed someone. He said that the knife he carried was blunt, and Sakura was so angry that she decided not to talk to Sharon. They dashed to their gate when they realized that it was their boarding time and they barely caught their flight. In New York, the group was greeted by an exuberant girl who was a couple years younger than them. She introduced herself as Miho Tanaka, the president of Comtech's niece, and took an immediate dislike to Sakura. Sakura was not pleased with the way the girl was so familiar with them, and she worried about their follower. So I think this is the beginning of group outfits.
Yes, yeah, I was going to mention that. Like, how cool is it to have a friend that can just make your entire wardrobe for you? Like, that is legit dreams. Like, is nothing like, you can buy clothes off the rack and they're nice, but like when you actually have an outfit that's made and tailored just for you, there's just something about it that just elevates your confidence and just makes you feel so good about yourself. Just crazy.
Yeah, I love it. So in the beginning of this chapter, we have Sharon talking to his mother, and your Sharon talking to his mother voice is so perfect. It really made me think of his reactions around his mother in the first movie.
Thank you. Yeah, I figured I needed him to sound nervous, because it's his mom, and yeah, but thank you.
And then we get like a little segment where he's like, Sakura, she finds that he's writing some kind of like paper or essay. And like, I was thinking, wow, Sharon's too young to write something that advanced. But then it hit me. Wishchan was actually around the same age as our cast when she wrote that.
Insane. You can tell she's going to be a journalism major. Like,
yes.
Like, I had to, when I was doing the audiobook, to be completely honest, like when I came to read that sentence, I had to like pause and look up how certain words were pronounced. So Sakura is struggling to read this sentence is actually pretty on character for me as well, because that's how I was reading it. Because I was like, holy moly. I also enjoyed seeing, like, I brought up this scene a couple episodes ago, but it's fun seeing Arika kind of be one of the girls and kind of be friendly, like she's pushing Malin off the bed. And, it's nice to see that, because eventually when we get into arc 4, she very much just gets in the mindset of, I know, I'm the villain. I don't want to pretend anymore. I don't want to be friends with you guys. I don't care.
I'm going to hang out with Jinyu. Bye.
Oh, I have many thoughts when we get there. But yeah, it was nice to kind of see her just get to almost be like just a normal teenage girl with her girlfriends. Like, I'm really hoping, I know I'm jumping ahead, but I really hope that ending we get some type of like, I don't think her and Sakura will ever be best friends ever, but it'd be nice to get some type of resolution, and or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah. We have signs of the time reference, a fax machine. So even though they do have the internet, I was thinking that maybe this was before they could send really heavy files. So sending stuff by fax would be faster than attachments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I used to have one at my house, and it was a really big machine, and you had to plug it into your like actual what's it called? God, I don't even know. A landline. Your like landline. You had to plug it in there, and that's how you had to do faxes. Crazy.
We had a phone/fax machine where it's like the same number. So if somebody wanted to send a fax, they had to call, say, I'm sending a fax. And then there's like a whole announcement of like, somebody's like, don't pick up the phone. It's a fax. Just so that nobody picks up the phone. And then it will ring again, and then the fax will come.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. I also love that they mentioned that they're staying in the Plaza Hotel. It's one of my absolute favorite hotels in New York, not only because I absolutely love Home Alone 2, but just as a fun little side fact for you guys. I assume they're staying in the suite because they talk about next chapter how there's the living room area, then there's the two suites. So to me, that sounds like the actual Home Alone suite. Priya, just guess how much this suite cost a night.
5,000?
Oh no, $30,000 a night. A night, $30,000.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. It's like uh, who would drop that much money?
Comtech has some coin, I guess.
Yeah, we can talk about that more in the next chapter when they start like describing everything.
Yeah, yeah.
No, but Comtech, it's like it's just a league of their own. Uh, so in this chapter, we learned that Nadeshiko sent a parcel to Ririn in Hong Kong, which then got sent to New York. And that got me really excited because we know what's in the box
Mm-hmm.
and we know who they're meeting.
Mm-hmm. My question to you about that, and maybe we can talk about this more when we get to meet Sheen, but did Riordan know who he was? Like he had to know, right? Because he wouldn't just send the ring just to some random artist in New York. Like he had to know it was God, his name's Kesuke. He had to know it was Kesuke, right?
Like, if I had to make a backstory for this, I think maybe like because like just think of the timeline. Um, Kesuke and Miura, maybe they were together at the time. Maybe they were living in New York. Maybe he was trying to be like an artist, and then they decided that they wanted to have a family, and that's when they returned to Japan. And he just let go of art, and he did the corporate job to get a steady income for his children. But there must have been a period of time where he did live in New York because that's where the package went, and that's how like Sakura and Syaoran connected the dots to find Shing in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So he may not have been known as Shing, but I could totally see him as like someone living in New York.
Yeah, like maybe he like because New York has like a really prominent art school there, so maybe he was going to art school. I think I'm pretty sure Wish Chan explains it eventually. I'm pretty certain of that, but I just can't. I couldn't think of what it was when I was listening when I was recording this earlier. But
I think if like it's not there, we know enough about the Tanaka family to put the pieces together. But to tell you the truth, I haven't really thought about, hey, how did Rian send it to Shing in the first place if Shing didn't become a thing until afterwards? But
mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking that he didn't send it to Shing per se. Like this was before he took on the moniker Shing, but he really sent it to his friend Keisuke.
Yeah, okay, I co-sign.
Okay. So there was a line in the chapter where Shanron told Sakura that he wasn't the doll after she was squealing over his clothes. And it's clear that this boy has some PTSD from dealing with his sisters wanting to play dress up with him.
I also think it's pretty handy that he did that language spell on them so they could just speak English while they were like, that would be so handy. And I'm so jealous. Although I am
Yeah.
surprised Tomeo doesn't know English because I would assume she would travel with her mom. But I mean, maybe she just doesn't get out as much, you know. But
Yeah, or maybe it's like their travel is Japan, China based, Eastern.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Hmm. So now we're at the airport. And I like the way that everyone was wearing sunglasses because like, they are the stars of her movie.
And I kind of picture their outfits like very Matrix, you know, where it's just all black, long trench coats with the sunglasses. I just absolutely love it. And then when we just see them running into the airport later, all I can picture is Matrix in my head of like showing like trying to get around the guards and stuff.
I think it was from that period. Sakura gets the note about the bomb, and the only clue that she gets about this person's identity was the black skeleton mask. And I know that she'll be capturing the forces in New York. Do you think this is the stalkers doing?
Yeah, 100%.
Mhm.
100%.
Yeah, this is definitely the stalker at play. Sakura runs off, and instead of calling her by her name, Sharon opts for "Hey you" and "stupid."
Hey, you stupid. Oh, Syaoran.
Ah, so we have a frantic and fruitless search for the bomb, and I'm happy that I wasn't in their shoes because, oh my gosh, I hate drawing attention to myself, and that's all they were doing.
Yeah, I could there's just no way I'd be able to keep a calm composure and be able to run around like that. And I think especially now that we're post 9/11, especially here in the States, it might be different elsewhere, but you can't act like that in an airport nowadays and not just have the whole airport be shut down. Like everything would be grounded, But I think this was definitely before 9/11, right? This is 2001. Well, I guess maybe it's a little bit after, maybe. I don't know. But again, that's mostly an American thing too, though. But my question though is why do you think the time card won't work in this scenario?
I think the time card won't work because the user, it takes all of their energy just to stop time. And then that just makes them like, that just takes them out of the equation. Because like in canon, we saw Sharon use time to capture a dream, I think. Your
Correct.
rewatch was a lot. Like honestly, I haven't watched CCS in like 20 years because New Trials is my canon. But
Yeah.
from what I
No, you're right.
remember, is that the time card is a card that really sucks all of your energy. And yes, it stops time, but then what can you do during that time?
Well, the note also said no simple magic means will work this time. So I was also kind of curious. So I didn't know if that put the time underneath that umbrella, because technically they don't use any cards to do any of this, So I don't know if Sakura took that as I can't use any magic whatsoever.
And even Sharon, at first, it's like I was gonna ask you a question. It's like, oh, I think I found a plot hole. Why didn't he use his locator spell? But I'm like, well, maybe the locator spell is only for clue cards.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess maybe I guess they maybe could have used the paper to locate it, but yeah.
Anyway, but eventually they find the bomb in the furnace room along with another note. And it was clear that you had so much fun voicing the bad guy.
I really love when I get to use evil voices. What can I say?
And even your narrator voice, it's like you can sense the anxiousness as they're getting closer and closer to finding the bomb. Very, very well done.
Thank you. Thank you. And we get our first appearance of the dagger as well.
Yeah, that's going to pop up in the next few chapters for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So we're lucky that Sharon was the math genius. If it was me, I would not be able to work out those equations.
No, we'd be screwed. If it was you and I'd be like, well, let's just hug each other and say we love each other because we're done for.
Yeah. And I think what I really liked about this is that Sakura had like 100% faith in his math. She didn't second guess. She just told her what to do and she did it. And it's like, it's teamwork that we just love.
Yes.
Did you notice that she found comfort in the necklace?
Yes. Yes. And I think it's a combination of one, it's a gift from Syaoran, and then two, it's like her ancestor. She doesn't know that yet, but I think it's like a connection to Hayashi too. So, but yeah, I did notice that.
Yeah, speaking of gifts, it was so sad when Sakura was lamenting over the fact that Shara never said thank you for the embroidery. It's like,
I know. I was going to bring that up with you. I was like, that ungrateful boy. Like, I get the whole thing he's doing right now, but you can take a minute to say thank you to a friend. Like, I was so mad.
So finally it's left to chance, and which I think is totally unfair. It's like you work so hard and still 50-50 coin toss, but whatever. They got it
Mm-hmm.
right. A bang in the chapter, very misleading. You think it's going to cause destruction, but actually it was more of a celebration.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a line in the note that said, I won't be able to have fun if everything was destroyed under the explosive. Now, in the note, the explosive is written with the little e, and it's not capitalized. But if it was written in the proper way, it
Ah,
would be under the explosion. So, like destroyed under the explosion. It's not quote unquote proper English. So, this was Wish
yeah.
Chan's way of telling us the name of the card.
Oh my God, that is such a good pickup. I didn't pick up on that at all. Oh my God. Ah, she's sneaky with Jan.
I mean, when you did the audio chapter, I thought it was a really good call of not listing out all the numbers and just focusing on the letters. Was that like a quick decision for you, or like how did that work?
I tried to do it where I did it as the fan fiction writes it out. I tried, and I think I got to I am WAT. And by then I was just like, this isn't working. As a listener, I wouldn't want to listen to this. Like, reading, you can just read through it really quick because I think we all kind of just focus on the letters anyways. So I deleted, went back, and just did the letters, and I liked it a whole lot better.
Oh yes, no, I definitely loved your creative decision there. It worked. It flowed really well.
Thank you. I am kind of frustrated with them that here they think this bomb is about to go off and they don't have any type of like quick reconciliation discussion with each other. Like Syaoran in like a time of need isn't like, just kidding. I've actually loved you this whole time because we're about to die. So I'm going to tell you my true feelings. And then Sakura being like, Syaoran, I was like,
Well, Melanie, it's that 50-50 chance. If they got it right, he has to deal with his confession, and he doesn't want to do that.
this boy, y'all, like I get why Wish Chan's doing it all. Do not get me wrong, everybody, but I can't help as as a fan that I'm just like, no.
And that's why we have each other. SNS are going to
Yes.
go into weave their ways here and there, and we're going to just be sobbing the whole way through.
Oh goodness.
Uh, so we learned that Sakura is just as gullible as I am when it comes to Sean is trying to trick her into believing he killed people.
So honestly, with the clan, like the Lee clan, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, we know eventually they have like a Hong Kong, triad, under them and stuff. But I mean, I don't know. As Sakura, I'd probably believe it too, because I'd be like, yeah, you come from that type of clan. So
Now, there was one moment after this where Sharon had a sudden mood change when Sakura said that they came from different backgrounds and they were not the same. What do you make of that?
so kind of how I think this is, Sakura always says throughout this fan fiction that she doesn't think her and Syaoran would be as close as they were if it wasn't because of the cards in that whole business. Syaoran, I think, and his argument for himself is he doesn't belong in Sakura's happy rainbow world. He sees her as like the most pure, innocent, most loving person in the entire world. And I think he just sees himself as just this like person that just carries a lot of negativity, baggage. He has so much responsibility. And I think he knows that about himself. And he knows internally that he just can't fit into Sakura's happy world. He wants to so much. And I think just hearing her say that, it just kind of confirmed his own worst inner fear to himself of like, yeah, we're never going to be able to be together because A, I don't deserve her, and B, I can't fit into her happy world. So I think in that situation, he was upset with her for saying those words, but I think he was actually more upset with himself during that moment because it was kind of him coming to a realization of, my internal fear has been voiced, So that's kind of how I took it. How about you?
You know what? You just took the words out of my mouth. I was thinking along the same lines, but I couldn't really formulate it that way. So now that you have, I co-sign. No, definitely. It's like it's clear that they come from two different backgrounds, and when she just points that out, it's kind of just her saying it's like, yeah, you're just not gonna fit with me. That's like kind of crushing when you like somebody.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. But I will say I'm very frustrated at how Sakura acts, because I mean, I get they just went through a traumatic experience. Like, I understand that, but just her reaction to that whole scenario, I just don't think was very fair. But I also think, it's the stalker already kind of playing with her mind a little bit too. So I'm going to give her some grace, but I couldn't help but to be a little bit frustrated with her.
Uh, so we close the chapter with Sakura and Syaoran on non-speaking terms, but not before we meet Miho. So Miho makes quite the impression. She is obsessed over Syaoran. She's really quick to put Meilin in her place when she tried to whip out the fiancé card. She was downright rude to Sakura. She's got no filter.
Yes, Miho is such a fun character. I love that she is really kind of a combination of all the girl characters, if you think about it. Like, she's fashionable like Tomeo, but she's brash like Meilin, but yet she also has that like sweet main character type of personality that you can't help but to root for, like Sakura. And so she really is such a well-written character. Like, I just have to applaud Wish Chan over this OC. She's so good.
Oh, yes. And finally, when this chapter closes, I love Wish Chan's line about how Miho is familiar to Sakura, but she just couldn't put her finger on it.
Mm-hmm. And we'll learn more about that next chapter.
We move on to Dark Forces Corner. There was mention of the time card, but she was right about how she would be able to use it, as we previously discussed. Sakura does use the sleep to gain access to the videos. And I think it's actually the stalker and the explosive that were working together. And maybe the invisible too, if the stalker really wants to stay hidden.
Yeah, that's true. And I completely forgot about the sleep card. So yeah, I guess she does use one card. You're correct.
Now for the fan art spotlight. I drew this fan art back in 2012. It was for the New Child's 100 Themes project. And there was actually a prompt called Running Out of Time. So it was just the perfect thing to draw. Let's see. Do I have any notes about this? I think I was definitely inspired by clip art, and there was going to be absolutely no way that I was going to draw all of the wires that we have in Canon, and this was done with MS Paint.
Yeah, that's super good. And just putting it out there to our amazing fan art community, I would absolutely love it if someone could do a Matrix style Sakura and Syaoran running through the airport. Just tossing it out there.
Yeah, sometimes when I read the chapter, I'm like, oh, that would be such a cute fan art. I think the last time I had the urge to draw something, I don't have time, but the last time that I had the urge to draw something, it would have been pre-CCS Syaoran, when he was helping his sisters pick out outfits. So there was like that flashback where it's like, no, you need this shirt and these pants and this and this and that. And I wanted to draw like a little prepubescent Syaoran with these articles of clothing, because I thought that was the most adorable thing ever. But it just lives rent free in my mind.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. So let's see. Yeah, so it's simplistic, but it does job. And you know what? I was really pleased with the outcome.
For sure. For sure.
Okay, time for the author's note.
All right, short and sweet today. So we have Wish Chan. Well, this is just another beginning. Gee, I wonder who. Actually, things get pretty complicated from now on. Now, who is Miho? Find out next chapter. Poor Sakura and Syaoran are not talking to each other again. I wonder how long it'll last this time. Oh, and remember the golden hilted knife.
Bum bum bum. Oh, it's like Wish Chan is so excited. She's starting a new saga. She's laying the groundwork for a mystery. It's just so adorable to watch.
Yes. And, I think at this point, she's really kind of found her stride. She knows how formatting wise, how she wants the story to go. And it just gets better and better and better from here. And yeah, it's really exciting to see.
Have anything else to say?
I do not.
You have been listening to New Trials, the podcast, or It Must Rain for There to Be a Rainbow.
You've been listening to New Trials, the podcast. Please be sure to check out the audiobook version of this fan fiction that you can find anywhere you can find this podcast. Also, please be sure to check out the Facebook fan page for Wish-Chan New Trials, where a big part of our discussions happen nowadays. And be sure to do a discussion so we can highlight you on the Alliance of the Stars segment. And please be sure to stick around next week, where I promise I will finally tell you guys my connection to New York, and I'll stop being so sneaky about it. But please be sure to stick around next week when we discuss Chapter 17, A Small World After All.